Popolocrois, A Story of Seasons Fairytale, is a game that I heard nothing about. It's very rare that a game comes out and I have no knowledge of it. So, one day, I'm viewing the eShop and I see this game called Popolocrois. At the time, I really didn't know how to pronounce it. The artwork immediately hooked me in. After looking into it a little bit, I found out that it was a strategy RPG mixed with Story of Seasons. So it has fighting, farming, and a relationship simulator all in one game. That's everything I need in a game. So after all that, I rushed to the store and picked this game up. So, after playing it, how do I feel about it? Let's get into the review, and like always, let's start with story. The story of Return to Popolocrois, A Story of Seasons Fairytale, is simply put, charming. You play as the young Prince Pietro, and when mysterious black beasts show up and start threatening your home kingdom of Popolocrois, you decide to travel to a land called Gallery Land to learn of a special magic that can help defeat them, just based off of Prince Pietro's love for his homeland. Without any spoilers, you're stuck in Gallery Land and you have to find your way home to Popolocrois. Pietro teams up with new and old friends to restore the balance to Gallery Land and reviving Lady Galariel, someone who's going to help him get back home. You do so by meeting up with different fairies so you can combat the monsters plaguing the Farms of Light in Gallery Land. Along your journey, you can meet several girls who Pietro can raise his affinity with by giving them things. And to be honest, I kind of wish they didn't have that feature at all. All the characters that you can date are very one-dimensional and boring, and worst of all, the game even sets up a relationship between Pietro and the witch Narsha in the beginning of the game. And while they obviously just like each other and don't have any concrete ties between each other, it's just written so well that all I really want to do is get Pietro home to Narsha. And while the dateable characters are bland, the supporting roles are definitely not. Specifically, two characters really kept me interested: Nino and Rue. They're two brothers that you meet relatively early on in the game, and they stick with you throughout this 16-ish hour adventure. Now, this may get a little spoilery right here, but my favorite part of the story is that you learn that Rue is actually royalty, and that Nino and Rue aren't actually blood related. The game spends a lot of time defining what brothers are to these two characters, and eventually they have to decide if Rue reclaiming the throne is going to divide them, and if they would still want to stick together. It's a very touching story, and it's honestly the biggest reason that I stuck through this game. Return to Popolocrois definitely deserves an 8 out of 10 in the category of story. The basic premise of the game was enough to keep me going, and it's helped by some great characters, but held back by some other bad characters. Now we get to the gameplay, and this is honestly the weakest part of Popolocrois. The game is embarrassingly easy, until the final boss, which is a huge pain. Thankfully you can turn the random encounters nearly off, so you're not bothered with the same repetitive, boring battles over and over. In fact, this is the only game I've ever actually used the auto feature on. The only time I would turn it off is during a boss battle, just to remind myself that I was still in control. However, the camera was definitely more than capable of handling just about any boss. Other than that, most of the gameplay is just wandering around going from town to town. And then the dungeons that take form of the farms that you purify are just really linear and boring. They won't take you more than a few minutes to defeat any of them. Oh yeah, I mentioned there was farming. It's a little sluggish and very simplified. One of my biggest problems was that there was no day or night cycle, so you basically just had to wait a little bit to water your crops again, or just go and tend to your animals. Also, there's absolutely no reason for the farming to be there. There's only one time throughout the entire game where the farming actually affects the story. I mostly did it just to get money to buy new items because they are very expensive in this game. So the gameplay is mind-numbing. Running around aimlessly, poor farming, and very boring battles. It deserves a 4 out of 10 for the category of gameplay. There was almost no point to having the farms be there, and the difficulty is just laughable. But the constant running around has one upside to it, and that is the visuals. And you will want to look at everything. This game is beautiful. It has that 3DS look that games like Fantasy Life or Pokemon Mystery Dungeon perfect. But Return to Popolocrois may be even a step above those. I really have nothing else to say. The environments are flawless. The character models are flawless. Return to Popolocrois definitely deserves a 10 out of 10 in this category. Now the soundtrack is another strong suit of Return to Popolocrois, with themes that stuck in my mind for weeks. I love the soundtrack almost as much as I love the visuals. 9 out of 10. And how it puts the special features to use. This is another fantastic thing that Popolocrois does. The bottom screen is used to view maps or navigate menus, and the 3D is very good. 10 out of 10 without a doubt. So how does this experience total up? Well, it has great characters, music, and visuals. However, to get any of it, you have to trudge through a lot of walking and a bunch of cakewalk monsters. I think this game deserves the slightly above average score of 6 out of 10. I do recommend this game, but just keep in mind that it is a bit of a grind. But the relationship between the two brothers, Nino and Rue, and the want to get Pietro back to Narcia will definitely keep you going through even the dullest parts of this game. Thank you so much for watching my video. Remember, if you want to stay up to date on the Sentient sock puppets, you can follow us on Twitter. I'll have that link in the description. And if you're tired of video games, like always, check out the Sentient sock puppets page for David's reviews of movies and Matey's reviews of cartoons. With that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.